everybody. Chip Walters here. Welcome into another edition of the Friday Five. Glad to have you with us. And my website, of course, is choosechip.net. And always trying to bring you some interesting perspectives and views. And today we're going to let's head south and go to the Gulf Coast. And Susan Petty with Remax of Orange Beach is with me today. And full disclosure here, Susan, we've got something pretty major in common. We both have the same hometown.
We do.
And thanks for being here with me today.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite.
Well, let's kind of talk about what's been going on, in our world. The COVID-19 has had some effect on business here in Middle Tennessee. We saw in April our numbers were down 12 to 15%, which all in all not all that bad. How have things as far as property moving on the Gulf Coast? How has that been over the last couple of months?
It really hasn't stopped. We are so surprised. Our condo market took a dip only because sellers did not want us going in with all the scare of the COVID and everything. They didn't know who was going to be in their units or anything. So that kind of took a little bit of a dip, but the residential market has it's been so strong. And we're just kind of like, we can't believe people are still out and buying, but it has been amazing. Of course, our businesses have opened back up. Memorial Day weekend, they're expecting just a huge rush. I think everything down here is sold out as far as rentals, because we had a lot of people coming over from Florida since they shut some of the Florida rentals down. It's just been amazing here. I can't believe how much business we've had.
I think I read something yesterday that when Alabama opened back up, that Gulf Shore, there were 700,000 people.
That's correct.
And while we were without, toilet paper and whatever up here, that those people came in and cleaned everything out of the grocery stores.
They did. It was really frustrating, to say the least, especially for the locals here, because we have a very elderly population. And, everybody was concerned about, our nursing homes. And even though it was a stay-at-home order, people still felt like if they had to work from home, they could come down here and just be at the beach and work from home. Mm-hmm. So the governor just had to close down everything, because it was just an influx of people. And then when they opened it back up, oh my gosh, the waterways, the boating on the waterways, it was like a boat parade. And from my condo, thankfully, I can see a lot of the back bay. And I would just sit out there and watch the boats, one after the other. It was just really interesting.
Well, today I wanted to talk with you about that condo market. And,
yes.
And for the people who are in my area that have been thinking about, getting that condo and having a short-term rental property that they could then use for themselves as well as lease out. Kind of give folks what is the process. Of course, first of all, going to your website, I'm sure, and making contact. That's step number one. But kind of walk us through what that's like.
When the buyers come in to look, of course, there is an array of condos down here. We try very hard to pre-qualify them as to what their concerns are, what's their needs, what do they really want? Is it strictly investment, or is it going to be something that they purchased just to help them pay the fees, and then they have their own little vacation spot to come to? Then we take them, we start, depending on if they're already here or if they want to start by email, we start sending them listings to view. They come down, they narrow it down, we go in, we look, we get them pre-qualified, hopefully through a local lender, because they know our area better than anybody. They know the HOA fees. They know everything that they need to do to go to the association management. And then from there we do, Alabama is a caveat emptor state, which is a buyer beware state. So a lot of the responsibility is put on the buyer. As a buyer, they get to go through the condo docs, the budget, the minutes, the financials, home inspections, air conditioning inspections, anything that would be of concern to them. They have a 10-day business 10 business day due diligence period. And if during all that time, anything does not work with them, then they are able to back out of the contract and get their earnest money back. So we have to be really careful that our buyers are aware of this. It's called the Resale Condo Act. And we have to make sure that they're aware that this is their responsibility. And we as agents are the liaison to get them all their information to review.
The with that in mind, obviously, people, we're all enamored. As I put it up on my background today.
Beautiful background.
That scene is what we all want.
Absolutely.
And that's a dream that you're selling. Are people still seeing condos as a really good investment property?
Yes.
And one that is turning a profit? Because that area of the Gulf Coast, all the way from 30A to Fort Morgan, is just absolutely packed on both sides of the state line.
It is. And we are just more well known every year. People come here, they're moving here out of Destin, out of the Pensacola area, to come over here for their vacation spots, mainly because it's easier to get to off of I-10 and I-65. So we're a good travel distance to be able to get to the beach easier. Not knocking Destin by any means. It's just beautiful there. But they're finding more convenience coming into this area. And they do still see it as a good investment. We have a lot of millennials coming in right now and purchasing. You have to weigh out everything. You have to weigh out the condo fee. You have to weigh out if you're going to do the rentals yourself and save that 25 to 40% management fee, then you've got to look at the whole picture, and we do a pro forma for them. We get them the rental history if it's been rented prior. If not, then we get them comparable units that have rented and what they can expect. So there's a lot of work that goes into, from the very beginning to the ratified date to the closing date. Yeah. A lot of information that's thrown at them very quickly in a short period of time.
And that's why I have Susan on today, because she is an expert in that area. And for any of my folks, talk to me. We'll get you referred down to Susan. Let's talk.
Chip, I consider it an educational process.
Right.
There's so much unknown. A lot of people come down here and they get taken away by the view, or they get taken away by the newness of the condo, and then they don't really realize all the other little things that go into it. So if we educate them properly and we take the time to go over step-by-step details, they're more comfortable with what they're purchasing. And then they're not closing and going, well, we didn't know there was an assessment coming up, or we didn't know that our HOA fees didn't include whatever. So it's a very lengthy process that needs to be told to, especially our new buyers. Our savvy buyers, they're familiar with everything, but the new buyers really need to take time and educate.
Absolutely, and that's for any transaction. The more educated your buyer is, the more comfortable and more smoothly that transaction is going to go, no matter what it is. But in particular, these type of things, because when you're on the coast, you've got other insurance type things that are concerns.
That's right.
Those kind of things all come into play. Let's talk price point, and I'm talking about right there along Perdido Key Boulevard. The typical condo complexes we're talking about. What are we looking at there? Are we in the 200s? Are we in the 500s? Or we're in the 700s?
Okay, great question. We're even up into the millions. Okay. And a lot of that,
like Turquoise?
Turquoise Place, yeah. Nautilus, Opal, the Nautilus and Opal and Oceana. Those are high rises that have one unit per floor. Wow. And so those are in the million plus range. Turquoise Place, definitely in the million plus range. Then we have what the views down here are called direct Gulf front, indirect Gulf front, So depending on what price point you want to be in, you can be on the beach side, but you may not have a balcony facing directly on the Gulf. You may have a balcony on the side where you can see a limited view of the Gulf, but the people are still on the beach side and they don't have to cross the road. So there's a lot of little other things that go into the price point. If somebody comes into me and says, hey, we're $250, that's a pretty normal range that most people are looking at. You know, we want to stay around $250, but we really want a 2-bedroom. They're probably not going to get a direct Gulf front with their balcony facing the Gulf for $250 on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. We could find them an older unit that has maybe a side view that they could still be on the beach side. So your typical Gulf front 1-bedroom is going to range really about right around $300. And then a direct Gulf front, of course, it goes up. For a 2-bedroom, 2-bath is going to be high 3s, mid 4s, and then we go up from there.
And then you have Bayview and everything.
Absolutely.
That. Yeah.
Like the condo that I live in is on what they call the back bay.
Okay, is that like near the marina, kind of?
It is. I am right at the marina, Sportsman Marina. There's what I love about being back here is it's quiet. I'm not on the beach road traffic area. I can sit out on my balcony. I can watch all the big yachts going out. I can watch the smaller boats going out. I'm next to restaurants. So much walking distance to the park and the Coastal Arts Center, and just there's so much back here. I love it back here, and a lot of people don't really realize it. They're not going to get the rentals. If you want an investment, it's got to be on the beach, period. But if you want quiet and second home mostly, or maybe just to live in a condo, then the back bay is wonderful.
Yeah. So there's there's a ton of information there, and I do want to put this up on the screen right now and tell folks how they can reach you. This is your website.
That is my website, and it is spettysalesthebeach.com. Of course, everybody down here calls me Spetty, so that's why we did that. Even my license tag is Spetty. And so if you go onto that, you can search. If you go back up towards the top there, Chip, it shows, is that the top?
There's the top right there.
Okay, there you go. You can see my testimonials are on there. There's it's broken down into Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. And so if you know the name of the complex, you can just click on that and it will give you all the names of the complexes down here. If you're only interested in one, you can have price points on there. You can get any of our local links. Talks about my bio and how long I've been here and what I've been selling. Also, I'm on Facebook. You can definitely reach me on Facebook. And let's see, I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Twitter.
Well, everywhere we all have to be, right?
I am not on Instagram.
Well, you got to
I
start
have
doing
not
that.
done that yet.
No TikTok for you? No TikTok?
No TikTok either.
Okay. Well, it's Memorial Day weekend, and I hope the weather is going to be good down there because the coast is going to be inundated this week and next week.
It is.
It's like somebody.
I went to the grocery store yesterday.
So you're ready then?
I am ready.
Well, good. Susan, I really appreciate you taking time today, and do want to remind folks that, if you're in this area and you're looking for somebody to talk to about having a place on the Alabama Gulf Coast, Susan is the person. Just reach out to me. I'll get you in touch with her. It may be 6 weeks from now. He said, now, who was that he was talking to? Well, it's Susan Petty. Again, she's a good Columbia, Tennessee girl. She's from
That's right.
Just like me.
That's right.
And want to wish everybody a great Memorial Day weekend. Again, spettysalesthebeach.com is her website. ChooseChip.net is my website. Susan, really appreciate the time today, and you have a great weekend, okay?
Thank you, Chip. I hope you do too.
All right. Thanks a lot, folks. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.